What is up, people? It is me, Monster58. Welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Scavenger. Technically, the fifth of the six of the Constructicons that we need to complete our new and amazing Studio Series 86 Devastator, which, by the way, I technically have already. I got Mixmaster maybe a little bit after I got Scavenger, and he kind of cleared and ended up shipping out maybe a few days after I got Scavenger in the mail. So I've been messing around with Devastator for maybe about a week or so, something like that. But I know it says 4 out of 5, but there's 6 Constructicons. Everyone knows that all the other combiners have 5. Devastator's the only one that's got 6, at least before the, pre-86 movie, right? And so when we're talking about this, let's take a look at the box here. You can see, obviously, it says 4 out of 5, but realistically, it's 5 out of 6. 15 steps, obviously. Then we have the Transformers right here. You got the Studio Series, got the Transformers in the movie right there, Constructicon Scavenger. Then we have more stuff on the side here with the Deluxe class right there. You can see that very nicely. Got some more nice artwork here of Devastator, and then you have some very nice product shots here on the back of Scavenger as a whole. Now, I will not be showing the combined mode for this guy because it's really not that much, and at the end of the day, it's not like Scavenger or Mixmaster or something where it's a pretty significant transformation. This guy's a lot more simple, and so this is one that I think very similar to, what did I do, what was the last Constructicon off the top of my head that I didn't do it for? Oh yeah, I didn't end up ever really doing it for Bone Crusher. So at the end of the day, we are not going to be transforming him, just like Bone Crusher, one of the other arms, his other arm, into the actual combined mode. Just wanted to tell you that I will not be doing that. We'll be doing that in the full Devastator review. But as per usual, I think the box is really, really nice. And so without further ado, folks. Alrighty, folks, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Scavenger out of the box, and I gotta say, this guy looks really, really solid. Now, I'm gonna tell you this right off the bat. This guy, in no stretch of the imagination, in my opinion, is a bad figure by any metric of what bad would be considered, but this guy also doesn't stand out. In my opinion, out of all the Constructicons, maybe next to Bone Crusher, those two are kind of the figures that you're getting just because that you have to complete the set type thing. Like, he's the last character, one of the last characters you'll pick up because you have to complete the set, right? And that's how I feel about Scavenger. Again, just like Bone Crusher, I wouldn't say that there's anything egregious about this guy at all, but definitely he doesn't stand out, anything like that. But taking a look at this mode, it does look really, really nice. You can see the very nice molded in detail across the treads here. The nice silver paint on both ends here. You do have some... excuse me, I thought you did. You don't have any rolling wheels on here, which is a little bit of a shame. I wish you did. But you see the nice silver there will become his chest. You can see the nice green here. You see the nice Decepticon logo here at the top of the cockpit. There is a little bit of an exposed joint here because you don't get that when you... because you obviously get it here because you have the cockpit covering it. But overall, when it comes to how this guy looks, it's very clean. Like, this is, in my opinion, probably his better of his two modes. Not that his robot mode's bad, it's just that it's probably the better one because it's just compact, it feels solid, it feels sturdy. And the other thing I'll say about this figure, just like the other Constructicons, I've reiterated this in all of my Constructicon reviews, the thing about this in comparison to Combiner Wars, which is obviously the last big studios, the sort of cartoon Devastator that we got, G1 Cartoon Devastator, is that this guy feels really solid. The plastic feels good. He feels weighty. Feels a lot more dense. Feels like he's not going to fall apart. He's not as brittle as the Combiner Wars one. So overall, when it comes to this, I think it looks really solid. You can even see the nice tubing there. Although there isn't any like other silver paint or anything like that to sort of distinguish this, at the end of the day, it does look really, really solid. So overall, when it comes to his the construction vehicle mode here, I forget what this thing's called. Forgive me. I'll probably put it on screen right now. It does look really, really solid, and I have no major issues with it. And so when it comes to the articulation for the arm, you can go back and forth like this, all the way back. You can go forward like this. And then you have another joint here that you can move, and then you also have the actual joint here on this pin that you can go back and forth with to obviously simulate him, digging up dirt or rock or debris or whatever like that. So overall, when it comes to this mode, I think it's pretty solid, and so there's nothing really to complain about. In my opinion, the more solid of his two modes, I just think it's, feels compact, it feels nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our very simple size comparison. I'm not going to bring in really any figures besides Magnius today, just to give you guys an idea of how big this guy is, because I'd like to do the whole Constructicon, like, family photo when we do Mixmaster, because when it comes to doing it for the aerial bots, that's one thing I regret not doing. I think I just got back from the wedding that I had been a part of, and I was just tired, and I really just wanted to get these reviews out. So I apologize if I didn't get the full aerial bot family photo in that, but I'm going to try and get the full Constructicon family photo when we do the Mixmaster review, which wouldn't be in too long. And so I'm going to set Scavenger off to the side here. And here he is with the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnus. At the end of the day, when it comes to Scavenger, he's an average deluxe size figure. You can see the size here is pretty comparable. There's nothing really that's going to be crazy different about their sizes. Scavenger definitely fulfills that deluxe class role, and he still definitely feels cohesive when next to his other Constructicon brethren. I just literally removed him from being attached to his Devastator's arm, and so I can definitely tell you that at the end of the day, this guy's pretty solid when it comes to his size. And obviously, you're really not going to have him in his vehicle mode per se, because you're going to put him in the Devastator mode, which 95% of people are going to do. And so the size comparison, just wanted to get it out of the way so you guys can see he does scale very, very solidly with other deluxe class figures and with his Constructicon brethren. Alrighty guys, now it's time to get into his transformation, which really is very simple. So first things first, we're going to remove the gun, and I'll absolutely show this off in robot mode, but we're just set that off to the side. You have a 5mm port there that you can do. But very first thing, just take the arm and just collapse it like so. Very, very simple. Then from here, I can do the bottom half of the robot mode, so you can untab these, rotate them around like so, rotate them down, and then you can fold out the toes like that on either side. Just like that. These are nice and tight joints, though. That's very nice. And so you already have half of the robot mode transformed. So at the end of the day, let me grab. So I think I can do this, and then we will bring this up a little bit like that so you guys can see the rest of it. Very simple. So we come out here to the back, and then you can untab everything sort of. You can start to rotate it around, but this you can rotate this up. This you can fold out first, and then you start to rotate the cockpit part as well, and then you can do the same thing, and this should snap into place just like it did on the other side. And then what you'll notice is that there is a tab hole right there, and that there's a tab right there on the side, and then what you have to do is fold this in so that it does tab into place like that, and then you can rotate this guy around, then fold this side in as well, rotate this around, and all you gotta do is fold the fists out, take the back section here, and then just collapse this even further. Then from here, all you gotta do is fold that down, the bottom of the chest, fold the head out, fold the chest back up, and well, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Scavenger in his robot mode. And I gotta say, guys, when you compare him to his on-screen model, sure, he should be probably a little bit skinnier, but again, it's hard to translate an actual toy into making him super skinny. Very similar to Bone Crusher, he has that issue with them. But at the end of the day, he does look really solid. It's just that he doesn't really stand out, in my opinion. Like, there's nothing absolutely crazy about him. And so, first, before we take a look at him, we're just gonna take a look at his gun. Very accurate to how it was in the show. Looks really solid. Same, molded in detail and paint color as the other Constructicon guns that we've gotten, but it looks pretty solid. And then, obviously, what you can do is you can just, you have the 5mm in his hand, and then you can just peg it on like that, and so he looks pretty solid with it. But taking a look at the details, the head sculpt, I'll say, does look really, really good. Like the silver for his mouthpiece, I like the red for his eyes, and obviously all the black, and then you can see like that nice molded in detail there on the side with all those like grooves, right? That's pretty cool. The silver in the chest does get brung out here, looks really, really good with the Decepticon logo right in the center. A nice molded in detail here on the rivets as well. Coming down here, some very nice molded in detail across the board, nice on the treads and everything. The arms are pretty plain, but at the end of the day, there's nothing really else they need to do. One thing I'd like to show about the backpack, he does have a teeny bit of a backpack, but what you can do, if you do want him to be even more clean, you can just remove that, and then now you have an even cleaner back, but I just like to keep it on there. And also, if he does start to fall over, you can absolutely use the arm as a help to support him. Like, you can see that. Sure, it doesn't go all the way, but it's nice to have some extra support just in case you go into a super wide pose or something like that and he can't exactly support as well. Even though he can, I'm just saying maybe over time it'd be nice to have that as extra supports. But overall, when it comes to his robot mode, it's clean. It does the job and exactly what it needs to do. And it's just, he just kind of exists, in my opinion. Not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but again, doesn't stand out. And so what we're going to do is set this guy off to the side, and we are going to do our size comparison with Magnus. Alrighty folks, here he is with the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnus. As you can see, when it comes to Scavenger size, it's pretty solid, right? He's a little bit taller, obviously. In the vehicle form, he's a little bit, I would consider technically a bit smaller than Magnus in terms of the length and everything like that, but he does make up for it, and so he scales really well also next to his Constructicon brethren. If you think that's, Scrapper was maybe about the same height, you can absolutely, see the comparison and everything like that. Again, when you're looking at average deluxe size figures, Scavenger fits in completely fine, and in addition to that, he does look really nice along his Constructicon brethren, even though I will not be able to show them to you today. I just want to keep him sort of in Devastator for the time being. It's, again, like I mentioned, just want to get this out of the way. I'll have the full Constructicon family photo when we actually get to the Mixmaster review, so hope you guys look forward to that. And so, guys, time for his articulation. And when it comes to his articulation, it's pretty solid. Like, again, nothing crazy, but it does exactly what it needs to do. So when it comes to his articulation, the only big poopy part is he doesn't have a waist joint already, as a good chunk, because these Constructicons don't, but he doesn't have a waist joint. You can't really finagle him to do it because of how this part is designed right here. But head is on a ball joint. I believe I think it's actually known as a swivel, but you can look up and down a little bit, or down more or less, because of how the transformation works. So you can look down like that. You can do a full 360, which is nice. For the shoulders, you do a full 360. You can go up, you can go down, rotation, because you have a ball joint at the bicep, obviously rotation. Sorry, at the elbow, rotation there as well. No wrist articulation. That sucks, though, a little bit of hollowness there, but what are you going to do? And like I said, no waist joint, but you can kick forward, you can kick back. Very similar to Bone Crusher. Knee bend here at 90, rotation to the upper part of the thigh, and then when it comes to ankle rocker, you have it. Again, nothing crazy. The lack of a waist joint does suck, but I've kind of expected it with these Constructicons at this point, that you don't have a waist joint. But overall, he does pose relatively solidly. Again, nothing crazy, but he gets the job done more or less, right? So, yeah, there's his articulation. Alrighty, guys, and time for his reverse transformation, which is just as simple as getting him to his robot mode. So first things first, obviously remove the gun, and then what we're going to do is we're going to straighten out the legs here. We're going to fold the toes in. Same here. Just kind of X these out like this. I like to pull them out like that. Then for the head, just fold this out, straighten it out, rotate it down, take the arms, straighten them out, and then fold in the fists. Fold that back up. Then from here, what we can do is we can very simply come around here to the back, sort of, well, that kind of comes undone. Rotate that around just to get it up and out of the way. Then from here, we can sort of untab this section. Now what you're going to want to do is rotate this up and then fold the arm down, like so. Now what you're going to see is that there is a tab hole right in there, and that there's a tab right there, and these will just fit in quite nicely like that. Then you can fold the cockpit down. It's much simpler for the other side. Fold this up. Fold that down, then just tab that into place like so. Then very simply take these, and then you'll see that there are these big slots here. I'll go into right that massive tab in there. Just take this around, tab that into place, and then you also see on the side that there's a little tab right there that'll also slot into right here. So you can see that. So take that around, tab this all into place, sort of squeeze everything together, and just make sure it's all lined up, this part. There we go. Line that all up. Then you can just angle the arm the way you wish to. Then I have to take the gun. You have the 5mm port on the gun, 5mm port, or 5mm peg on the gun, port on the top here. Stab that in. And well, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Scavenger back in his construction vehicle mode. And so, guys, for my final concluding thoughts on the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Scavenger, the fifth of the Constructicons, this guy, very similar to Bone Crusher, just kind of exists in my opinion. In no way do I think that this figure has anything egregiously terrible about it, and anything that you would put under the umbrella of bad, like objectively bad, does not exist in this figure. However, he's just kind of there, and because of that, that's my biggest con, is that there's nothing that stands out about him, and there's nothing crazy about him, and so he kind of just feels like very similar to Bone Crusher, where you're getting him just to complete the set just because you have to, right? And obviously to complete Devastator. At the end of the day, you will have him in his combined mode, and so more or less you'll have him in his construction vehicle mode, more or less, to get him into that combined mode, which is essentially what his combined mode is anyway. And so at the end of the day, the other stuff really doesn't matter, but obviously I'm reviewing it in the sense of, you know, the figure in a vacuum, right? How does it stand out on its own? And so when it comes to the bad about this figure, like I said, the only con I really have for this figure, besides maybe him being a little bit wide in the robot department, he just doesn't stand out. There's nothing crazy about him. But what's the good? I mean, the construction vehicle mode does look good. It feels really, really solid. In addition to the plastic feeling really good, everything pegs in together quite nicely. In addition to that, when you get him into his robot mode, he does look very accurate. The head sculpt is nice. The paint, the details are very solid. Nothing crazy, but again, pretty solid overall for especially for a deluxe class figure. And in addition to that, he articulates decently well despite not having a waist joint, which you've come to expect with most of these new Studio Series 86 Constructicons. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to give this figure a score out of 10, I'm going to give him a 7. He's just above average. He's pretty good. I would say he's good, not worthy of an 8 or above, which I would say is like really good into amazing, into nearly perfect. Would be a 10, right? Nearly perfect would be a 10. 9 would be amazing. 8 would be really good. 7 would just be okay. 7 would be good. 6 would be above average, and 5 would be obviously painfully average. I'm just giving an idea of how I would think about it. But would I recommend this figure? Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to complete the Constructicons, you need this guy to complete him, and so buy him. But if I would say buy him on his own, you wouldn't be mad. I would say you wouldn't be mad spending the full price on this guy because he is a solid figure. He just doesn't stand out. And so I did pick one up on the Big Bad Toy Store, so I'll leave a link in the description of that. Also leave links down below to Amazon as well as Hasbro Pulse if you guys wish to use those retailers instead of BBTS, which is what I primarily use. And so at the end of the day, yeah, I think that's really it for the review. And so I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and also follow me on the socials. Those will be linked down in the video description below. And with that, guys, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video review, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.